Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and today we are going to talk about bones of cranium. So let's start our topic with introduction. Cranium is part of skull that surrounds and protects the brain. It forms the upper and back portion of skull and provides attachment point for muscles of head and neck. Cranium consists of 8 bones which are firmly joined together by immovable joints that are called sutures. These bones create a strong protective cavity for brain while also forming the structure of the head. Classification of cranial bone. Cranial bone, there are 8 cranial bones that include 4 unpaired bones and 4 paired bones. 4 unpaired bones include one frontal bone, one occipital bone, one sphenoid bone and one ethmoid bone. And 4 paired bones include 2 parietal bones and 2 temporal bones. Now let's talk about these cranial bones. So cranial bones we have is 8 cranial bones that include one frontal bone. As you can see in the diagram, the yellow color bone is the frontal bone. Second bone is 2 parietal bones. You can see in diagram the blue color bone just behind the yellow color bone is parietal bone. Third is temporal bone. You can see in the diagram the red color bone just below the parietal bone is the temporal bone. Fourth cranial bone we have is occipital bone, and you can see in the diagram the purple color bone behind the parietal and temporal bone is the occipital bone. Next cranial bone we have is sphenoid bone. As you can see in diagram, the green color bone that is sandwiched between frontal bone, parietal bone and temporal bone is sphenoid bone. And next cranial bone we have is ethmoid bone. You can see it from the eye orbital cavity a little bit. Now let's talk about these cranial bones one by one. So first cranial bone we have is frontal bone. It is located at the front of the skull. It forms the forehead, the roof of eye socket and parts of nasal cavity. It contains the frontal sinuses which reduce the weight of skull and resonate the voice. It articulates with parietal bone at the coronal suture. Next cranial bone we have is parietal bone, that is pair bone. That means there are 2 parietal bones in every skull. They are long pair bones that are located on the sides and roof of the cranium. They meet each other at the sagittal suture on the top of the skull. They articulate with the frontal bone anteriorly, they articulate with the occipital bone posteriorly, and they articulate with the temporal bones laterally. Next cranial bone we have is temporal bone, that is also pair bone. That means there are 2 temporal bones in every skull. They are found at the lower sides of skull near the ears. Important features of it include external auditory meatus, that is also called as ear canal, mastoid process that provides attachment for neck muscle, styloid process that provides attachment for tongue and throat muscles, petrous part which houses the organs of hearing and balance, and it also forms part of temporomandibular joint with the mandible. Next cranial bone we have is occipital bone. It is located at the back and base of the skull, as you can see in the diagram. It contains the foramen magnum, that is a large opening for the passage of spinal cord. It articulates with first cervical vertebra, that is atlas, to allow nodding movement of the head. It also provides attachment for neck muscles. Next cranial bone we have is sphenoid bone. It is a butterfly shaped bone that is situated at the base of the skull. It extends across the cranium. It connects with many other cranial bones. It contains sella turcica, that is a depression that houses the pituitary gland. It also contributes to the floor of cranium and the sides of orbits. Next cranial bone we have is ethmoid bone, that is unpaired bone. That means there is one ethmoid bone in every skull. It is a light spongy bone that is located between the eyes. It contributes to the medial wall of orbits, the roof of and sides of the nasal cavities and part of nasal septum. It contains cribriform plate, which is tiny opening for the passage of olfactory nerve that is responsible for sense of smell. It houses the ethmoidal air cells, which are small sinuses. Now let's talk about functions of cranial bone. First function is protection, as these bones surround and safeguard the brain. Second function is support, as these bones provide structural framework for the skull. Third function is muscle attachment, as these bones offer attachment point for head and neck muscles. Fourth function is they house special organs, as they contain structures related to sight, hearing, balance and smell. Fifth function is opening for communication, as foramina here allow nerves and blood vessels to pass through. thus connecting the brain with other parts of body. Conclusion of this lecture video. Cranium consists of 8 bones, 4 of which are paired bones and 4 of which are unpaired bones. They are intricately joined to form a strong protective case for the brain. Each bone has a unique feature and specific roles, from housing sensory organs to providing pathways for nerves and vessels. Together, they ensure both protection and functionality, making the cranium one of the most essential parts of human skeleton. And this was all about cranial bones. Hopefully, you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching.